What if I told you that the everyday choices you make right now are connected to some of the most shocking environmental crises on our planet? Even the shirt you're wearing could be part of a massive problem you never expected. But that's just the beginning. What if I told you that behind every product, every meal, and every simple habit, there are hidden consequences that might shock you? Stay with us, because in the next few minutes we're revealing jaw-dropping, shocking environmental facts and surprising truths about our planet that you won't believe. Are you ready to find out what's really happening to our world? Wetlands are one of the most important ecosystems on the planet, yet they often go unnoticed or are misunderstood. Many people think of swamps and marshes as murky, mosquito-filled places best avoided, but in reality, these landscapes are quietly working behind the scenes to keep our world healthy and balanced. Wetlands act as nature's ultimate multitaskers, performing a variety of essential roles all at once. They are constantly busy, supporting life, cleaning water, and even helping to regulate our climate. Think of wetlands as the planet's kidneys. Just as our kidneys filter out toxins from our bodies, wetlands filter pollutants, sediments, and excess nutrients from water that passes through them. This natural filtration process helps keep rivers, lakes, and even our drinking water clean, without the need for expensive technology or chemicals. Wetlands also act as giant natural sponges. When heavy rains or storms hit, these areas soak up and store excess water, slowly releasing it over time. This helps prevent dangerous floods in nearby towns and cities, protecting homes, roads, and farmland from costly damage. But when we destroy wetlands to make way for new developments, we lose this natural flood insurance. The consequences can be severe: more frequent and intense flooding, poorer water quality, and the loss of vital green spaces that support both people and wildlife. Wetlands are also bustling cities for wildlife. They provide critical habitats for countless species, from tiny insects and amphibians to birds, fish, and mammals. Many animals depend on wetlands for food, shelter, and a safe place to raise their young. In fact, more than a third of all threatened and endangered species in the world rely on wetlands at some point in their lives. When a wetland disappears, so does an entire world of biodiversity. The loss ripples through the ecosystem, affecting not just the plants and animals that live there, but also the people who depend on these natural resources for clean water, recreation, and even livelihoods. So next time you see a swamp, marsh, or bog, take a moment to appreciate its hidden superpowers. These landscapes are quietly purifying our water, preventing floods, storing carbon, and supporting an incredible diversity of life. They are true superheroes of the natural world, working tirelessly for the benefit of all. Protecting and restoring these vital ecosystems is one of the smartest and most impactful things we can do for our planet and for future generations. By valuing wetlands, we ensure a healthier, safer, and more vibrant world for everyone. Let's talk about harnessing the power of the sun, a force that has been shining down on our planet for over 4 billion years. Every morning, as the sun rises, it delivers an astonishing amount of energy to Earth, enough to power all life, drive our weather, and shape our environment. But what if we could capture just a fraction of that energy to power our homes, our cities, and our future? The sun is our ultimate clean energy source, radiating more energy in a single hour than humanity uses in an entire year. This energy is abundant, free, and available everywhere on Earth, from the busiest cities to the most remote deserts. Solar energy is a true game changer. By installing solar panels, we can convert sunlight directly into electricity, reducing our reliance on polluting fossil fuels. The sun provides an unlimited power supply, and with each new panel, we take a step closer to a sustainable future. Unlike fossil fuels, which release harmful emissions and contribute to climate change, solar panels generate electricity with zero emissions. This means cleaner air, healthier communities, and a planet that can thrive for generations to come. To put it in perspective, the amount of solar energy that hits Earth in just 1 hour could power the entire world for a full year. Imagine the possibilities if we could harness even a small portion of this vast, untapped resource. Of course, capturing this energy efficiently is the challenge. But thanks to advances in technology, solar panels are becoming more effective, affordable, and accessible than ever before. Engineers and scientists are working tirelessly to develop new materials and designs that maximize the amount of sunlight we can turn into usable power. Solar power is a quiet revolution, transforming landscapes and communities around the world. It offers a clean, inexhaustible energy source that can help us build a brighter, more sustainable future for everyone. But real change starts with you. Share this video to spread awareness, make a small change in your daily life, and encourage others to join the movement for a cleaner planet. Together, we can make a difference. One action, one conversation, and one step at a time. We all know plastic pollution is a huge problem. Images of plastic bottles floating in the ocean or littered beaches are everywhere. But what if I told you the most dangerous plastic pollution is the kind you can't even see? Microplastics, which are tiny plastic particles less than 5 millimeters in size, are literally everywhere. They're in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and even the food we eat. These invisible invaders are now a part of our daily lives, whether we realize it or not. Microplastics come from many sources. When larger plastic items like bottles, bags, or packaging break down over time, they fragment into smaller and smaller pieces. Everyday products like face scrubs and toothpaste can also contain microbeads, tiny plastic particles added for texture or cleaning power. Even washing synthetic clothes releases microfibers, which are a type of microplastic, into our water systems. These particles are so small, they slip through most water treatment plants and end up in rivers, lakes, and oceans. Once in the environment, microplastics don't just disappear. They're eaten by plankton, which are then eaten by small fish, and so on up the food chain, eventually reaching us. Scientists have found microplastics in seafood, table salt, honey, and even in the air we breathe. This means that every day, without knowing it, we're consuming tiny bits of plastic. The long-term health effects are still being studied, but early research suggests they could cause inflammation, disrupt hormones, and carry toxic chemicals into our bodies. Recent studies have detected microplastics in human blood, lungs, and even in placentas. This is alarming because it shows just how deeply these particles have infiltrated our bodies. Scientists are racing to understand what this means for our health. But one thing is clear: microplastics are now a part of us, whether we like it or not. The scale of this invisible threat is staggering. Unlike larger pieces of plastic, microplastics are nearly impossible to clean up. They're too small to filter out of water, and they persist in the environment for hundreds of years. This makes microplastic pollution a crisis that's both massive and incredibly difficult to solve. We've created a permanent form of pollution that's infiltrated every corner of our planet, from the deepest ocean trenches to the most remote mountaintops, and now inside our own bodies. The next time you take a sip of water or bite into your favorite meal, remember, there's a good chance you're also consuming invisible plastic. Massive glaciers are melting at an alarming rate. Greenland alone lost over 4 trillion tons of ice in the last 30 years, causing sea levels to rise and putting coastal cities in grave danger. This isn't a distant problem, it's a global emergency that demands immediate action. By 2100, up to 630 million people could be at risk from rising seas. Melting ice leads to catastrophic flooding, displacing millions of people and wreaking havoc on infrastructure. Flood disasters have more than doubled since the 1980s. It also disrupts fragile ecosystems, pushing iconic species like polar bears to the brink of extinction. Some Arctic animal populations have dropped by over 50% in recent decades. Glaciers act as Earth's natural reflectors, bouncing sunlight back into space. As they vanish, more heat is absorbed, accelerating global warming. 2023 was the hottest year ever recorded. We're losing a vital piece of our planet's life support system, and the consequences are dire. If current trends continue, many glaciers could disappear within our lifetime. Fast fashion is creating a mountain of waste and pollution. Every year, the world produces over 100 billion new garments, most of which end up in landfills within just a few years. The industry encourages us to buy more and discard clothes quickly, filling landfills with 92 million tons of textile waste annually. Producing a single cotton t-shirt uses a staggering 2,700 liters of water, the same amount one person drinks in nearly 3 years. Cotton farming also relies heavily on pesticides, which contaminate soil and water. Textile dyeing is the second largest polluter of water globally. Toxic chemicals from factories flow into rivers, turning them unnatural colors and killing aquatic life. In some regions, 20% of industrial water pollution comes from textile treatment and dyeing. The true cost of cheap clothing is environmental destruction. Devastated landscapes, polluted water, and mountains of waste. Your t-shirt's journey starts on a cotton farm, travels to factories for spinning, dyeing, and sewing, then ships across oceans before landing in your closet. Each step leaves a massive carbon footprint, but you can help. Buy less, choose quality over quantity, repair your clothes, and shop secondhand. Every small action reduces your clothing footprint and helps protect our planet. Wait, before you think you're off the hook for buying eco-friendly products, there's something you need to know. Many items labeled as green or sustainable aren't as harmless as they seem. From biodegradable plastics that don't actually break down to organic labels that hide massive carbon footprints, the truth is more complicated and more shocking than you think. Are your eco-choices secretly fueling pollution, waste, or even harming wildlife? Stick around, because what you'll discover next might just change the way you shop forever. Every year, over 5 billion pounds of pesticides are sprayed worldwide, meant to protect our crops, but often with devastating side effects. These chemicals don't just stay on the fields. Rain washes them into rivers and lakes, poisoning aquatic life. In some regions, entire fish populations have collapsed, and once fertile soil is left barren and lifeless. But the most heartbreaking victims are the pollinators, especially bees. Studies show that more than 40% of insect species, including bees and butterflies, are at risk of extinction, largely due to pesticide exposure. Imagine walking through an orchard in spring, silent because the bees are gone. Without them, crops fail, farmers struggle, and our food supply teeters on the edge. The decline of bee populations isn't just sad, it's a global emergency. But there is hope. By adopting smarter pest control methods and protecting our planet's helpers, we can restore balance. The future of our food and our environment depends on what we do next. Imagine this. Every time you flip off a light switch, you're not just saving a little electricity. You're unleashing a superpower for the planet. Most of our electricity still comes from burning fossil fuels, which pump massive amounts of CO2 into the air every single day. But when you turn off lights, unplug devices, or power down your TV, you're cutting off the demand at its source, helping to shrink those emissions. Now picture millions of people making this simple choice every day. Suddenly, a tiny action becomes a tidal wave of positive change. Your small habit inspires others, and together we become a global force for a cleaner, brighter future. Never underestimate the power of your switch. Meet methane, the stealthy greenhouse gas that's 25 times more potent at trapping heat than CO2. It sneaks out from burping cows, decomposing trash, and leaky pipelines, often invisible to the naked eye. Here's a jaw-dropper. A single ton of methane can heat our planet as much as 25 tons of CO2 over a century. And get this, methane is responsible for about 20% of global warming. Want to make a difference? Eat less beef, compost your food scraps, or support clean energy. Every action slams the brakes on methane's mayhem. Did you know that air conditioners worldwide use enough electricity each year to power the entire continent of Africa? These power-hungry machines are driving up electricity demand and pumping out massive amounts of CO2. But it gets worse. Most ACs use refrigerants that are thousands of times more potent than CO2 at trapping heat in our atmosphere. Imagine this. During a heat wave, millions of people crank up their ACs, making the city even hotter, and creating a vicious cycle that's hard to break. The solution? We need to demand energy-efficient models and push for safer refrigerants. Will you help cool the planet, or keep turning up the heat? Our oceans are in grave danger. Ocean acidification, driven by our relentless CO2 emissions, is silently poisoning the sea, changing its very chemistry. When carbon dioxide dissolves into seawater, it forms carbonic acid. This acid breaks apart, releasing hydrogen ions that lower the ocean's pH, making it more acidic. The extra hydrogen ions also bind with carbonate, a crucial building block for shells and coral skeletons, making it harder for marine life to grow and survive. Entire ecosystems are collapsing before our eyes. Fish vanish, reefs die, and the people who depend on the sea for food and livelihood are left with nothing. Even tiny plankton, the base of the food web, struggle to survive in acidic waters. This crisis threatens every link in the marine food web, including us. The time to act is now. By reducing CO2 emissions and supporting ocean conservation, we can protect our oceans and our future. Understanding these issues is just the beginning. Real change starts with you. Every small action, whether it's reducing waste, conserving energy, or making sustainable choices, adds up to a powerful impact. Inspire others by sharing what you learn, starting conversations, and joining forces in your community. Together, we can create a brighter, greener future. Subscribe and be part of the movement for change. The planet needs you. Let's make a difference, starting today.